What are we going to talk about?
Well, I don't know. Well, actually, today, me and Nadia, we are struggling to start our podcast.
Yes, because we're processing, or I'm processing stuff, and I'm procrastinating.
Yeah, which like procrastination, I really feel it's one of those that it's generally when you don't want to dive deep into what is needed, no? Procrastination.
Yeah, a lot has come up through the whole week. I mean, procrastination is actually a trauma wound, but let's not go into this. Let's not escape into the theory. Yeah, that's what definitely I feel like, that procrastination. When I procrastinate, I start to talk a lot. So I kind of feel I'm winning time. Um, and we had so many ideas and so much came up for us, both of us, in a week. So many golden epiphanies that came up, but sometimes it can be so much that you don't actually know in the end anymore what you want to talk about, because it's been so much and it's almost kind of moved on. So much came up, work related, time resource related. Where do we want to start?
Yeah, I feel like starting with the beginning of our process. I think like we've lived kind of like parallel processes in a way with each own like individual aspects. But I can start to touch upon on my end, like my big breakthrough. I feel like really comes from this well, the fact that I'm leaving my Saturn return, and I actually feel very blessed by it. I feel like I'm having the lessons that I need at the right time. But one that I'm struggling, but then also realizing why things are happening, really comes from this Saturn energy of constriction and like of limited resources, limited energy, limited money, limited time. And my natal signature is actually I have Saturn in Pisces natally, and it's not a comfortable position for Saturn at all, um, because I feel so much with the Pisces. I feel like really flowy and more pulled towards like spiritual aspects, and so the constriction of and the limited aspect of Saturn feels like so something that I want to resist, something that I want to completely fight. I want to fight the limitations of time. I want to fight the limitations of limited money. I want to fight the limitations of limited resources. And I want to find a way to crack the system. And then I really come to terms that, you know what, you cannot resist this. Like these limits exist for a purpose. But it was this type of train thought and this type of embodiment, like actions from my part, that made me almost succumb to a burnout. And I was exactly during this week, I was already seeing the tension accumulating all over my back because I was not honoring the limitations. And then I feel like we even touch upon this, like the big realization in the end was the purpose of the limitation, which in on my end is really to build discernment. If I had limitless money, limitless energy, like if there was no limitations, no boundaries, I would not be able to discern, to learn to discern, to learn to choose, to learn to um, spend my time in a wisely manner, and really choose at the end of the day what I want to put my soul, my energy, my whole being um, into like projects or people or situations. It's like really Saturn to me, it's evolving into like this wise feature in my life, and I'm learning not to fight it. I'm learning actually to flow with it. So yeah, that's my take on my on like the insights. Of course, there's the material aspects of them and how I came to this realization, but this was the big breakthrough to me.
Yeah, that's in regards to your own personal Saturn return, which of course goes then accentuates that energy of your birth natal chart. In my case, that's not happening. Still, I'm in total synchronicity of what your experience is. I feel there must be some global connection, which I haven't really checked upon for the last couple of weeks, really what the global constellation is at the moment. Yet I feel that there's this energy around that we all getting put into a tight spot, into a squeeze, into a pressure cooker, where we actually have to take a decision. I feel that with my clients, I feel that in my private circle of friends, and like in our synchronicity of this week, because we check in with each other almost daily and we share what is actually transpiring, and there's so much synchronicity happening on two very different ends. I'm in India, interacting a lot with Switzerland, and you are in Portugal, so there is no connection geographically there. Yet there is this restriction that people are being put in a pressure cooker, that we are feeling this if we cannot do everything that we've done so far, we cannot just give and deplete ourselves. We have to take a decision. We cannot anymore just participate in everything, just give our resources. We're all being put on a spot to actually take a decision and to choose a path. And to invest into that path and to give ourselves the value for what we're actually doing, for our offerings. I feel it's a time of recalibration, of who we truly are. Because if we do not, you're right, I agree that if we're not being put into that tight spot, we don't have to. Like if you have a lot of financial resources and time resources, which is a very luxurious place to be in, then you do not need to set boundaries so much. If you overexhaust yourself because somebody's draining your energy, then you just have a nap afterwards. But you cannot do that if you are restricted in time. And you cannot you cannot just deplete your resources if you do not have a financial backup. So what I feel what's happening is that we all getting put in a place where we actually have to stand up for what we are, and we have to learn what our value is, and we have to learn how to communicate it and choose what we want to invest in. And sometimes we really truly want to invest in more, but then we can also do one after the other. We cannot do everything at the same time. So that I feel is very much transpiring for I can definitely say both of us, but I feel it's also happening for other people too.
Collectively. I'm also not, I don't know if in particular these months, like where the planets are. Like I do know that we entered recently
Aquarius, or what do you mean?
Aquarius, and there's this new energy, and because I for the past 250 something years, there was not this energy on Earth. There's also like the adjustment, and so that actually can spark some inner pressure onto us collectively. But I actually I feel that from what you said, which is so truth, like the importance of really showing ourselves for who we are, and the importance of knowing oneself, and to make a decision of, okay, where do we stand in the line? Do I stand in the line of committing to knowing myself more and more, and dedicating myself to that path? And then as I start to to know who I am, as I start to connect to soul, building that space of inner confidence to then show that to the outside world, from a place of humility, of this is me, but also not to impress others, actually to just share, to just from this almost like inner stance of this is me, take it or leave it, but this is who I am and this is what I came here to do, is to share this inner spark which is unique to me with others. Or if we continue to brush off who we are or stay in oblivion, in blissful ignorance, for the times ahead. And the
It's
times
not going to work.
and the time exactly.
Pressure cooker is there. It's not going to work.
Premonition. Yeah.
The blissful oblivion is not going to work. I think we all called to really step in our power. And I also feel that if you find your jewels, like your true inner gold, we actually are being supported. But resisting it and trying to stay in oblivion, I think we get into a massive pressure cooker. It's not going to work. I feel that people really defragment, souls getting defragmented, and they're literally imploding or exploding. I really feel we have to position ourselves, but not in a rigid way. Position ourselves in the sense of, who am I? What's my essence? What's my purpose? What am I born to? What is the reason why I'm born to? And I do not mean by that we say, oh, that's just the way I am and I'm not going to change. No, we all work in progress. It means more that we do not shy away from sharing our gifts. And because the true gifts are coming out, many of us, especially the ones that do feel under pressure cooker, our gifts are not what is traditionally appreciated in society or honored and monetary honored in society. Our true innate gifts is not what makes traditionally for good living or what is honored by others. It might be something unpleasant or something which is undervalued or which is just considered some trivial business, but everything is important. We all a little piece of a puzzle piece. I mean, if I'm a very gifted carpenter, like an amazingly gifted carpenter, people will pay me for my furniture, and I truly value carpenters. I think like this, I'm just having a look around at this paravan and everything that's standing here. I love carpentry, I love working with wood, and I truly appreciate the craftsmanship of something like that, especially the antique style or the colonial style, which I personally like so much. And that is honored. People get paid for it. But when your skill set is something non-material, which hasn't got a name yet, which cannot be put in a box yet, then it's actually up to us. We have to find this gold within us, and we have to first find out what we actually good at, and then we have to go out there, and we also need to, if we want to contribute to this world, we need to make a living as well. So we also need to have an energy exchange. And as long as the monetary system is in place, to have put bread on a plate and butter, hopefully also butter on the bread, we need to, yes, we need, yes, we cannot just go out there, especially in those of ones who have more energetic skills. We cannot keep on going out there and just being taken for granted in our energetic skills and not being honored without any energy transfer. So that is something which mainly is based on that we do not honor ourselves.
Yes.
And we do not go out there and we do not charge, because there's something in the spiritual realms, there's something attached to money, is something that we have to, it's not talked about. It's not spiritual to talk about money. Money is being demonized in the spiritual realms. And that, I feel, in itself, it's well, it's a conditioning, but it's also a manipulation.
Yes, definitely. I from what you said, I have two notes. The first, it's so funny how you actually made me understand that me being in a different position from you, I really feel like you really start to honor and understand your gifts. You know that you start to know that DNA, which is so singular and particular to you.
Start with empathy.
It's a journey, and yes, and then there's unlimited potential there, definitely. Whereas me, I feel like I'm still uncovering that. Like I start to know, like, I'm good at this, I'm good at that. But to me, like, there was a big, and it's the same. It's like until I get the lesson, it comes in cycles of crescendo intensity and added difficulty. But I remember, like, growing up, when I had to decide what I wanted to do, and I knew I could do pretty much anything that I wanted, and that was my biggest curse, because then my brain popped up, like lurking, my ego self, and it's like, oh, so you go for, the thing that will make you make more money, will give you more safety, and with less work. And that was one of the criteria. I was not at all like soul, not at all what gave me true joy. And then the added difficulty was, okay, now that I have, the certifications and the diplomas under my belt, and going back, and even when I renounced to, I'm not going to do that, still there are strings attached, because even now, when I apply to my new job and my position, I realized that I completely misrepresented myself, but completely. And it was not deliberate on my end. I was not trying to manipulate anyone. I still saw myself, I still, in this job category, I still saw myself as I was, and I was still honoring the actually material skills that I've developed throughout the years. When actually I really feel very strongly that my signature is more energetic and more feminine gifts, and I'm still selling out my masculine structure and the diplomas and the certifications. I'm still leveraging that, and I know it's not my gold. So this, like, that to me
Because
was
we're
like
so conditioned to do that.
so
Because
conditioning.
you even so, many of us, we value the feminine principle, we still do not value it the same like the masculine. We love it maybe, or we want to be in these realms, but we do not value it the same. Like, you get knowledge, you get something on a paper, diploma, knowledge. There's something in the masculine principle, it's honored more in yourself. You honor your masculine skills, your diplomas, your degrees, your practical skills in certain realms, more than what you really have, your visionary. Which the trap of the visionary can also be the illusion. So that's what you're working on, and you really do work on it. Yet it is something that it's a gift you have, and you can be very, you're very motivating. Like, you can motivate other people into it. You have this enthusiasm about things, and you have this visionary gift. You do have this discernment and this visionary gift. It's not something that is, unless you sit there with a crystal ball, it's not something which is truly honored. It's something which is in a dinner party, oh my God, yes, of course, if you were a very rich lady in a royal setting, then of course it's honored in a you know, Downtown Abbey dinner table. It's very honored, that kind of skill. Because you're entertaining, you're eloquent, you're interesting, you know, and you're feminine, so you can have those skills. But in this time and age where we women also strive for more independence, nowadays, those of us who have chosen to be radically independent and only join up with the masculine and the outer realms if there's true love and compatibility there, not just for safety and security, where the reason is actually love and your you know, like compatibility, and you have a joint goal. So what happens, many of us are not with a masculine outer energy in our life, so we need to provide for ourselves. And when you need to provide for yourself, then that's what I feel is like so interesting about being put in that spot and in this pressure cooker. If I had a man, a rich man who was providing for myself and I had all the time in the world, I would not know, I would not give myself the value, because I could afford to give it away for free. I could afford to just donate my skills, and I probably wouldn't feel good about it. I would feel inside, I would feel an emptiness, because you feel depleted. If there's no honoring and no exchange for your skills, for your gold, then there is a depletion happening.
That is so true. To me, the depletion, then that anchors onto my wound, my chiron, which is the fear of betrayal and being used. So when there's
you have that very strongly in you, yes.
That's so strong. But the thing is, when I feel the depletion and the people are not honoring my gifts, even if exactly as you were describing this intuitive, more energetic gift, but if I feel someone is taking something away and I feel that depletion, that unbalance, I automatically associate that with, oh, this person is using me, and then I close off my heart and I close off my gift. I really have that very strongly to be transmuted. I know that, because of course with this core wounding, automatically you get an automatic response, and the work here is working towards that you don't have that automatic response anymore. You actually build discernment, and you will know eventually when actually you're being used or betrayed, or no, or that is your own inner wounding acting out in your head, and then you're projecting onto the other. And that's the beauty of this work. But yes, I see what you're saying, and I feel it completely, and more so in our day and age. I feel that because like we are in the age of information, and the truth is information no longer is also valued, and so people start to take it for granted also, in a way. And then there's this entitlement thing of um, just feeling that you should receive information for free, you should, like energy. Another point, because most people, they feel the energy yet they don't see it, and you don't honor what you don't see. And this was a big challenge for me also, coming from a very seen materialistic perspective, and starting to understand consciously that no, there's unseen realms, and and I do feel a lot of the energy of the places and the energy of the people. I'm intuitive like that, but never came from in like an embodied place. And now I'm doing that, like through experience. I'm learning more and more to it's like the first tip of the veil was understanding that, okay, there's the unseen realm, and that is in my consciousness, but then there's this adjustment of embodying what you know that exists. and there's, at least for me, it has been a tough process of trial and error. It's not a linear one. And I feel
Yeah, it's just this greed. It's greed. It's this greed for knowledge, and it's this when a person is in pain, then this feeling that when we get the knowledge of how to get out of the pain, or like reading a book or getting an information, there's this greed for it, but there is a lack of pratyahara. There's a lack of dedication, of continuity to implement it and to embody it. Because if it's just in the brain, yes, it will help you understand things. And there's like both, you know, like I feel like this, it's a complementary. The brain is more the masculine principle of getting the knowledge, and the feminine principle is the embodiment. And together it's very, very nice. Yet that information flow is so overvalued that, and I feel how the females also value it more. Like even that there's very few, there's like a how can I say that? There's a resistance. There is a resistance to go into the body. There's a resistance to go into the body because there's a fear of feeling. There's a fear of tapping into the emotions, because subconsciously we know we go into the body, we are going into the unknown, we go into the unconscious, and we might be in for trouble. So there's a fear there. There's an anxiety about tapping into there, what we've tried to hide all our lives. It's much more comfortable. It's much more in our comfort zone to be in the mind, because we can control the mind. Once we go into our body, we cannot control it. So today, for example, I went into deep Svadhisthana practice, and I cannot control it. I know Svadhisthana very well. I'm Svadhisthana.
You're the queen of fun.
It's my home ground. Yet today I was going very deep into the Svadhisthana asanas, into breath work, into the energetic field of Svadhisthana. It's been a good couple of days that I didn't have the time resources to do my own deep practice. And today I went in, and it was, I didn't come out the way I intended, you know, I didn't come out this very, you know, balanced being. I came out pretty grumpy and edgy, and I'm edgy. I'm not feeling calm. I know that I've stirred something up, but that's the process. So it is not something, and sometimes I feel super good afterwards and totally relaxed. And sometimes it's really soothing and lovely and wonderful, and it just rounds everything off, but it's not controllable. You cannot plan it. Today like this, today like that, good days, bad days, like the Indians would say, kabhi khushi, kabhi gham, you know, like you never know you never know what you're gonna get. And it's that, and the mind is controllable. When you read a book, when you listen, and also the lack of attention span, you know, to go, even like to read a good book or to read a good text, people do not have the attention span to do that anymore. But to go into your body, you can only feel it after many, many, many times, because you need to go and work through layers. So the first time you go into a setting and you need to go into the body, you'd go like, oh my God, what does people experience? And the comparison starts. Oh, they go much deeper than me. What are they feeling? It's actually, oh, then the judgment starts. This is crap, you know, I don't feel anything.
Or I'm incapable. I will never be able
Either
to.
you self-judge or you judge outwards.
Yeah.
And it's this thing. So it is a process, and it takes time.
Which people...
and people want to have the quick fix.
Look, it's so funny that we did not know what to talk about, and this is it, because you're touching upon the things that happened to me this week. Like, this is like the perfect wrap up of my week and my insights. What happened to me? Like, I was in the brain, like most of my time in this life. So until like pretty much 27, I have been worshiping my brain, and my brain is my master, my highest treasure and possession. And when I had my spiritual awakening, of course, I got addicted to the bypassing like the higher chakras. And you know this, we would have practice, and like Svadhisthana was always the one I
You
tried to
hated
avoid,
it.
and it was the favorite of Nadia. And there I was, like, forced to have Svadhisthana daily. And still, I know this, I had a lot of blocks. But still, I was trying to control my spiritual practice in a way. So when I'm doing my self practice by myself, now that I'm not physically present with Nadia, like, of course, I always bypass to the upper chakras, Vishuddha up. And I got addicted to that feeling of bliss, calm, energy. Yes, hi. Like, yes. And wherever is stirring me, putting me on edge, I tend to neglect and repress and suppress. And this week I realized, of course, through it started with the tension I got on my back and the story behind the tension. And then I started to realize how I have in my body a lot of stories, untold stories that I've been brushing under the carpet because I don't want to feel they are nuisance in my life and in my life. And so I always find excuses to not go into the body. And also because of my very active mind, um, I'm and I have this clear vision. I'm the dragon eating its own tail in my life. I am that one, and the actually the gateway. And I know this. I have this insight. I have this knowing that the gateway to my to leading life with less resistance and more presence is through the body, is through the embodiment practices, is connecting back to the breath, is really questioning, like, what is the story behind that emotion, what is the story behind this feeling, sitting in stillness with those unpleasant emotions and unpleasant feelings. And it's funny because by worshiping the brain, I also worship the masculine qualities in me, and I'm being invited right, left, and center to honor the feminine within and without.
And you know, this is the interesting part about it, just what you touched upon about blissing out and going up. There's this desire to go up. There's desire to connect with the divine. It has a lot to do with, there's a healthy side to it, that we've all been separated at birth from divinity because we have gone into the oblivion, we have gone into the forgetting of where we come from. We've forgot about source, and the whole world, the whole conditioning is deconditioning it for us from our essence. So there is this healthy part in it of wanting to reunite with source. It's just that we do not know how to do it. And now Madame Napoleon is also, she's sharing her wisdom as well on her journey.
Have we introduced Madame Napoleon?
We have introduced her, no? That's my soul cat.
It's the soul, yeah, but I
Yes.
don't. Next time we should have her here.
We did have her. We did have her. Yes. So that going up is, we can only go as high as we are grounded. So when we have very firm roots, we have a stable vessel to go also up. This is not a contradiction. When we talk about embodiment, it is not a contradiction. It's just something that has been neglected, something that has been denied, something that was not honored. So that is why we put so much emphasis on it. It's nothing wrong with intellectual prowess. There's nothing wrong with, as long as it's not connected to ego. There's nothing wrong with intelligence, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with connecting the higher chakras up. Yet it is like a up and down. It's like the whole. So we have the roots, we are connected with our Muladhara, we have roots growing out of our body into the earth in Mama Gaia, which is holding us, nourishing us. Mother God is holding us. And then we going through our whole system, like the Kundalini, our whole spine, the nadis, the channels, and then we're going up. If we shoot up too quick, we're leaving too many holes and entry points in our system, and we are very porous and have unsealed boundaries. So it is very important to go into this embodiment. And nowadays, I can literally feel when people disconnect from Earth, I literally feel that I can see people not walking on the ground. I feel their field is not touching the ground.
Mm.
And when you do that, it happens to all of us. And then the secret, or not the secret, the recipe is to ground. But what happens, those people, they are not in themselves. They're loose cannons. They're not really themselves. They're not going inside. They're bypassing their feelings. They're bypassing their emotions. And it is a very, very, very important work. It's very, very important self-work, and it's very important to embody, to go back and forth also, to integrate, to get knowledge, to integrate it into the body. It's just that it's not honored and bypassed, and it hasn't been honored for millennia.
Mm-hmm.
And what is then honored, which is misinterpreted as embodiment or misinterpreted as is this physical hype about the body, is like this that the body is in terms of looks. So in that whole body, how do you call that, this over identification with the physical, that's not embodied.
Yeah, the obsession with the body, like it's the cult
Yes,
almost
the
of.
body cult. That's not being embodied.
Mm-mm.
Embodied means that your soul and your body is connected, that you grounded, that you truly inhabit your vessel. And it's not, because what happens, there's a lot of soullessness around this body cult.
It's so, yeah, like I'm amazed with the how I'll be so like how you say the things that I have to say, like this feminine fluidity, it still amazes me. Um, I'm able not to be in the brain and realize what I must share. It's exactly what you said about embodiment. I when I was in this cult of the brain and the worship of the brain, and I also went through my phase of using the body as an instrument to again perfect my ego and my self-image, and I did it to like to an unhealthy degree of spending 4 hours in the gym at a time, and this obsession with the fat that I hold in my body, and like I had the perfect diet, like keto diet, but like you remember the degree of craziness that involved, almost like if I like the amount of control over the body that I had. Like I'm fasting in the morning and I cannot eat, because even if I felt like eating and actually I needed eating, I would not, because I was following some crazy diet, some schedules, something of the mind that the mind put, like these objectives, aimless objectives. And then my life started to be dictated by the mind, and it was chore after chore, and it was superficial. People could see that even if everything in my life looked perfect, there was a lack of soul, and that transpires. It transpires to the pores. Like there's this superficiality of oneself that people know, people sense. We are sensible beings. I mean,
Yes.
people with soul, of course.
I think you could, then you just, well, people see, but it's also like you go into resonance with the same people who have the same thing. They, of course, resonate with you. Same.
But then you, yes, but then what I feel, what happened to me, yes, I was cooked up in this world, in this superficial, like empty, whole world. And that's where my soul was starting to cry, and I felt depleted. I felt like, what's wrong? I'm doing everything perfect in paper. I'm obeying my mind, whatever. I'm obeying society. Like, no one seems to validate what I feel deep within. And it's this inner cry of the soul.
And the smile without the eyes, lit eyes, the smile that just doesn't reach the eyes.
Yes,
And the
there's
fake voice, the laughter, the fake laughter. When the laughter has this tonality that is fake, because you need to be fun and you need to be cheerful, you need to smile, because you bullshitting basically yourself. Others can, most others, unless they're in the same scene and in the same frequency, they will resonate, but otherwise people can see it. So this is total self-denial, this complete, this following some idea, and there's nothing feminine about this. Absolutely nothing. And it's not a healthy masculine either. It's a toxic masculine. The females living the toxic masculine. And the problem about this is, even when we get to this point of realizing that there is this awareness is coming in, like more and more people realize that. But still, when it comes to teachings, when it comes to teachers, it is still, the masculine is more listened to. Like it is still even people who have that awareness, it's still more the masculine, the knowledge that is honored. And it is, yes, we women, we support each other. But I often feel what happens is we support each other because we're benevolent towards each other. So we do want the other one to thrive after a certain level of healed energy, yet we still do not feel the power in the other. We do participate in a woman's offering because we want to support the woman or something. And there's nothing worse than participating in something because you want to support something. There's something so dishonoring of it, because you should participate because you believe in what the person does. Not because you feel actually sorry for this poor woman who tries to go out there and does some offering, you know. And that energy, sometimes I feel it amongst women. We try to support each other in our offerings without truly believing in the power of the other. We're feeling that we're good friends and we want to support the other, but there's something maternal or parental in it, that we want to support the other. But when it comes to the true guru, the true teacher, the one who really changes my life, that's a man. Or a woman who represents the masculine principle or the toxic feminine. So there's a big unhealed essence in that. And it's got to do with every single person who also goes out there and presents the offering. I really truly only start now to honor myself from my skills. I start in baby shoes, like my first little tiny baby shoes. I start to honor my how can I say that, my essence as equal. I start to honor that what makes my soul what it is, what she is, it's a she soul, is not something which is measurable. It cannot be put in quantity. It's not linear. There is no goal, there's no result, because the result depends on the commitment of the person and the dedication. if I'm working in the realms of energy and my student is not receptive to energy, it's not about my work. It is about the receptivity. So it's not, oh, it's not measurable. It's true, right? It's this, it's what we need to do, all of us, and I feel so strongly about it. How can people also recognize us if we do not believe in ourselves? How can we be recognized? We cannot be seen by the people who need to see us because we do hide ourselves. So we need to believe in ourselves, and we need to decondition this inferiority because we do not fit into that role or that box that has been created and is being measured. So if we don't believe, how can others see us? And that's what's coming up.
Yeah, I I got emotional. And it's beautiful. It's I really feel it's important also to allow myself. I did not try to contain it. It just came. I don't even know what's the story behind this emotion.
And that's the
But
important thing. Don't go into the story.
yeah, no, but
It's the
listen.
emotion, something touched your soul.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, by
Don't
listening.
analyze it.
Yeah, because I tend to do that in a way.
No, because there's something in what I said, whichever word, whichever gesture, whichever energy, whatever it was, there was something, and it doesn't actually matter what it is. Whatever touches your soul is good. It puts you in a process.
Yeah. No, and it's true that like really Nadia, she touches my soul, and I feel like it's part of her gift is to touch people's souls. And it's very hard to label a gift that I see in her, like, and I everything that she said, it's so true. Um, Nadia to me, like it was my spiritual initiator. She was a beacon of light that came into my life. And this is not I really need to do this disclaimer. It's not, it does not come from like I'm not projecting onto Nadia like this savior. I'm not, but I cannot downplay the role that she had in my life. And collectively I feel that the divine feminine is rising, yet I still don't feel the divine feminine quite here. I feel there are a lot of traps in this field and with the feminine principle, which has been misused, abused, coerced, suppressed. And I really, it really hurts me because it's also part of my own journey to realize that my life is a firm example of that, like through my actions, um, through my words, through like I did that. I was and I'm on the path transmuting it, but I see how the external divine feminine that enters my life is healing me in ways that no course, no masculine structure, no masculine guru, no library of books could ever done to me. And the majesty of the true strong feminine power, which is not, and it's very important because I feel I know how to pinpoint the difference between the toxic goddessy superficial energy of the feminine, the misuse of the feminine gifts, and the true feminine power in authenticity and in its own splendor. It's so magic. It's it's so beautiful. Like it's, I cannot describe two words like the feeling of honoring the feminine, of opening up to the feminine essence, and realizing how suddenly my life stopped to be like this chore, this there was this friction, and suddenly through contact and through really connecting to the divine feminine, life suddenly has other depthness to it, and it still has the ups and downs, but there's profound meaning in it. There's symbolic wisdom, there's openness to life, and like really love, but not, it's not a, like even the layer of love, like as I open to the divine feminine, I feel that my ability to feel love is expanded in many, many ways. Yesterday in my embodied meditation practice, and I have big resistance with that. I've never felt my heart, and I know that my heart has been closed for years. If ever was open in this life, I'm not even sure. But yesterday I felt my heart for the first time after the embodied meditation, and witnessing those changes, and witnessing that it was not because of the embodied it was not because of that act. It's because of also like this weaving that and this initiation that I got 1 year, like now 1 year and a half back with you, Nadia, and how you were the catalyst to all this change, and how really the this feminine principle needs to be honored, and one needs to give you, like really, I really feel like that gift that you carry is so very special, and it's so unique, and it really needs to be shared with the world.
Yes, it's something that I just only really learned to see myself. I was working from the hidden, so I kind of offer a module as a cover-up. It's not intentionally, but I offer something. Well, it can be formulated in a positive way as a vehicle. You know, you need to have a vehicle of doing something. And of course, yoga, the way I see yoga, and it's really what I do also, it's a part of embodiment. It's an embodiment practice, but it's about the embodiment. It's not about, and of course you need to be aligned, because otherwise you harm your body, and you do not want to harm your body in a physical exercise because you want to, you know, not harm it, and still energetically, but it's an energetical embodiment. And that is so, yeah, it's my own journey to start to realize that doing alchemy as well, or it's still very raw in me, and I also need to give myself the value for that, because I haven't in the past. I have not in the past, and it is also like a wound in the history of my professional journey, that what I truly carry as my essence, because I did choose jobs where I could live it partly. So I was first working in the hotel industry, doing international working, and then that after my time in South Africa, where I was basically a social worker in the hotel industry without realizing it, I then went to social work. So I did a lot of coaching, working with people, guiding them on their healing journey for many different reasons and in many different settings. So that was always very, very prevalent. I was never honored for that. I had to explain myself why somebody was having a successful integration. I couldn't explain it. It was not something which fit into the pre-existing box. I didn't work according to a theory, a strategy, how do you call that? Not theory, guidelines.
The method, yeah, because you're intuitive.
I was working with a soul, from soul to soul with that person, highly intuitive and calling people out on their shit, you know, and I have this thing in me. I'm pretty good with addictions, because I'm an addictive personality myself. So I understand. I'm a very controlled addict that have addictive personality traits, and I do understand them very, very good where they come from as well. So I've helped in the course of my personal history and professional history quite a few people with addictions, which very often was the actually core problem to, I mean, the problem behind the addiction, which was then actually the problem why people did not thrive in their daily lives. So I have always kind of worked behind the scenes. I have had these job descriptions, but I wasn't actually doing what my my true skill was not my job description. It was not my true, I was good at holding together teams, at like the dynamics and everything to do with humanity, you know, the guests, with human emotions, with human everything. But I was never truly, my true skill was not the actual thing I worked in. My true skill was that in between, which I must have been given or must have learned from through many lifetimes. It's just something that comes very natural to me, but it's not anywhere. You know, in Switzerland, we have there's like a list of salaries you should get for what kind of profession approximately, and what kind of years of experience. It doesn't fit anywhere there. It's not on that list. It's on no list. It's in no hierarchy. It's nowhere. It's not honored. Yes, people did appreciate me for what I did, but it was not honored officially. And that's why I kind of worked. It was very exhausting. It drained my energies because I worked double. I did this, and then I also had to do the other stuff, which was the official stuff, which was tedious and stressful for me, because I had to write in my last job as a coach. I had to write reports explaining why the success was a success. And then I had to make up a story according to some theories and methods, how I've worked, which I've never done, because the success happened. So I had to justify success stories, which feel very, very draining to the system. So that's also why I had to, of course, go. And that's why I had to leave that system. But then still, out of the system, I did not validate that enough in myself, or I do not validate that. I still do not validate that enough. And I really feel with this Aquarius going in Pluto, it's been such a crucial journey. Also, we started our Podalchemy just to speak openly about things that I'm a person who doesn't like to keep things a bit hidden, not be too transparent about things. So this is so healing for my Vishuddha, for my throat chakra, and from my heart to express myself. It's very, very healing. And those things then just come up, and I actually do speak about it. It is about seeing who you are yourself and having the courage to be who you are, and then to go out there as who you are, offering what you have to offer. I think that's my conclusion for the week.
It is, but yet the thing that I really want to leave here is that if you do not honor like the potency and the amazing gift that you have, and you undercharge, because this is the thing that I feel most people don't get. Undercharging deserves you as a being, but also deserves the other. Because the moment you are not charging accordingly, that person can only go as the energetic balance is. So you have unsurmountable potential there. And I know we are only in the beginning of your quest, your odyssey, I feel. Because even from 1 year now, like the magnitude of your powers they have nothing to do with what I have experienced. And that was already the most potent I've known. And I see them blossoming. It's like you seeded the plants like 10 years ago or 15 when you started your own journey. But only now you are like you have this beautiful tree, like this like strong tree, yet you charge as if you don't even have a flower.
I do
And
undercharge. I definitely do undercharge.
no, but the thing is, then the other cannot absorb cannot feel actually the 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 shadow and the light of that tree, that strong root that you have. And it's your power, because I do feel that you connect people to their soul through shadow and light, and that is so important. It's the true alchemy, because I've contacted with people that work a lot on the higher chakras and the upper levels, the ascend, but the descent, it's so important.
You
People
need to
cannot,
descend before you can ascend.
and people cannot do that by themselves. It's so hard to do that by them. Like I'm this person that I love self-study. I love self-work, like working on myself. I'm sometimes a bit self-absorbed also. But the thing is, like doing shadow work by oneself, like you can do it, but be welcome to waste 100 years. Like the
Yes,
amount, the true lesson
I'm an accelerator.
you are, and the true lessons that I'm getting are in actually a lot of our conversations of like this. And again, it's the power of the feminine. It's the community. It's these
Mm.
containers of equal women in their power. No
Mhm.
judgment. Also, no pretension of being like this goddess, this sexy, uh, sexy something, or no
Or if the
priestess.
sexiness comes from source, if the sexiness comes from deep within, if you truly feel like that, but the thing is that it's put on from outside, it's kind of an expectation.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
it is very, it is a very essential, deep truth that you're touching upon, this honoring of what we give. Because if you do not give enough, like in the sense of an energy exchange, you also do not receive the full potency. It is if the energy exchange is not adequate, then you do also not receive the full medicine.
exactly.
So if you are, there's a big shadow actually around with a collective shadow of getting so much for free.
Mhm.
And now I can introduce her. Come, come, baby, come. Let me introduce you, reintroduce you. You're a very important person in my life.
Madame Napoleon. She loves to pose.
Yes.
She's there in a
She is just such a blessing in my life. She and her three brothers and her mom, they're such important teachers for me also. I love them dearly. Yes. Yes. No. No. Napoleon.
I told she loves the camera.
She loves the camera. She's a poser, you know. When the camera is coming, she puts herself in pose. She's very photogenic too. Anyway, let's round that up. But it's very important. It is so important, and I find it so beautiful how we touch flew. We didn't know what to talk about.
Mm.
Um, I was super grumpy after the Swadhisthana. I touched onto something, no story behind, just I touched onto something which will emerge over the next couple of days. And I was super grumpy, and I was a bit in my inner child, like stubborn. No, I don't want to talk. I don't want to show myself like that. Grumpy. And then we just pressed play, and that's here we are.
Yeah.
And it's not about being perfect. It's not about being, also as a teacher, as a teacher, our potency does not lie in the fact that we always 100% well ourselves, that we always fully full of energy, that we always chirpy and happy that we have arrived there. No, we are human beings having a human experience on this planet, and we are not there yet. Otherwise, we wouldn't have been reincarnated. I mean, if we were there, then we wouldn't have come again. It's not about that. It's also about being who you are and showing yourself for who you are. And that does not lessen the messages you have to teach. If I have a bad day where I'm not feeling good, where I'm sad, where maybe something made me angry, where I'm not fully aligned, maybe even in my own actions, it does not mean that I do not still hold the truth that I can teach somebody, that I cannot still be of value to somebody. And there's also this image of the spiritual teacher who always needs to look good, be relaxed. If we go through a process, we sometimes really look like shit.
Yeah.
We do. And all of us, we do. Because when we go through deep stress and we touch upon old trauma, we are not looking glorious.
Mm-mm.
And it's okay, because that makes us authentic. And even if we look, it's also authentic when we really look radiant, but it comes from an authentic radiance. There's nothing wrong with putting on makeup and dressing beautiful if it really comes from this inner impulse, not because we need to please anybody, not because we need to be a certain way, just because today we really feel that way.
Mm-hmm.
There's nothing wrong with that. And in the teachings of the feminine, and when I say about the feminine essence, there's nothing, it's not linear. We cannot promise any results. We can only go as deep as you're prepared to go. We can only go as deep as your vessel can hold.
Mm-hmm.
We can only, it's baby steps, and suddenly you have a huge epiphany also, but it's nothing, this expectation to be fixed in 7 days, or this doesn't work.
No, and actually it makes me so much think about the yin, like the fact that feminine essence is connected to water, and how in the feminine, for example, body, like I remember when I was going through like deep process, like I was accumulating water all over my body. I was doing water retention as a protective mechanism. And again, like this water element, like again connected like to the ocean, the depthness of the ocean, like really merging, it's in going very, very deep, that then the magic happens. But it's uncontrollable. We cannot control when suddenly the tide will change, when the big tsunami will hit. We cannot control. I really feel that's the magic of the feminine. It's not linear, and it's not the yang. It's not.
Yet there's one thing that we can push ourselves. It is to do something, not just to wait on the sidelines and accumulate more knowledge. We also need to implement and go out there, and we need to actually sometimes jump from the cliff. Because only if we start doing something, then we actually go through these processes. that's also why the last year has been such an acceleration for me, because I've done so many things that before I was contemplating about food. I was like pondering or stirring the cauldron, but not actually doing something about it. And then you're not making any progress. The progress actually can be accelerated, but you need to do something. You need to make changes in your life, even if they're small, but you need to change the way you talk, the way you formulate things, the way you interact, routines, and sometimes just shop.
Yes. And I feel, yeah, I think we're done for today. No?
Yes, I think so too. I think so too. Yes.
So thank you for listening to us. We hope that you take what you may for your life and implement, and we see you next week.
Namaste.
Namaste.